Okay, we are rolling. Champions of Champions boxing talk. Canelo Alvarez v Gennady Golovkin reaction video. Well, we did think in the build-up, or many thought at least, that this could have been the fight of the century. But was it in fact the corruption of the century? Or in fact the robbery of the century in conjunction together? Let me tell you something. In boxing there used to be a team, and it's really retired now. It was called the Money Team. Floyd Mayweather, Leonard Ellerby, and many other key players. Now we potentially have, and this is me being really calm after having a day or so to reflect on the fight, we may actually have now the corruption team. Yes, the corruption team. Let me tell you who the star attractions are. Number 1, Oscar De La Hoya. Number 2, Adelaide Bird. Number 3, Bernard Hopkins. And least to blame, but still a key member, Canelo Alvarez. There we have it, folks. The corruption team. Golden Boy Promotions needs to change its name, because I've just give you a fantastic one. The corruption team. We all used to complain that Floyd Mayweather never used to fight out of Vegas, and he didn't do this and he didn't do that. But let me tell you something. If you thought Floyd Mayweather was a protected fighter, he is nothing. I mean, he is nothing to the protection that Canelo Alvarez gets. Oscar De La Hoya did not get the same protection from his own company when he fought Floyd Mayweather that Canelo Alvarez gets from Golden Boy. It is absolutely unbelievable, and I'm saying this in a real calm and collected way right now, because I thought at the time, look dude, this is all just anger. Compose yourself, compose yourself. By Monday night you may be thinking different, and now I'm calm and collected. I still think the same thing. So there we have it. Put your exclamation mark on it, folks. The corruption team. Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, Adelaide Bird, and the one and only, least to blame really, harshly, Canelo Alvarez. Because Canelo Alvarez said he beat Golovkin, but he's going to say that. The guy is in the heat of the moment and in the battle, right? But Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, with a straight face in the press conference, said that they didn't agree with Adelaide Bird's scorecard, but they had Canelo winning. Like, what? And there's a lot of people saying things like, Canelo's defense was good on the night. Look at the stats. Gennady Golovkin got hit and hit more. What does that mean? It means that Golovkin's defense wasn't breached as much as Canelo's defense. Duh! And here's another thing, right? It makes me chuckle. Everybody's saying that Canelo landed the crisper, more flashier shots. Well, so did Manny Pacquiao when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Does that mean that Manny Pacquiao beat Floyd Mayweather? No, because let me tell you something. Golovkin was more active, more accurate, and landed more shots. Right? And people are saying, well, Canelo did what Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather does. No, he didn't. I've been saying time and time again, Canelo is not Pernell Whitaker and he's not Floyd Mayweather. And it was proven. The proof was in the pudding. Right? Floyd Mayweather, when is the last time in a fight you saw that guy breathing heavy? When Floyd Mayweather went to the ropes and went on the defensive, it was kind of like a choice on his part. When he sensed that there could be potential danger in the centre of the ring, he kind of then started moving around the ring, but it was never out of fatigue. Canelo Alvarez started the fight sharply in the first 2 rounds, but by the 3rd round, out of a little bit of fatigue, he was forced to go back to the ropes and take rests, because he was fighting in bursts. Right? Of course he was on the ropes trying to avoid shots left, right and galore, because he had no choice. The guy was slowing up, and Golovkin at 35 held up the guy 27 at his peak. Yes, his peak. Right? Now, I am going to give Canelo Alvarez some credit. Physically, he does hold up to the middleweight division in terms of ruggedness better than I thought. And he is able to absorb more than I thought. But from a tactical viewpoint, let me say this. In the Floyd Mayweather fight, Canelo Alvarez has really now fought two what I would call real special fighters. And they're completely different styles. One obviously is Floyd Mayweather. The other is Gennady Golovkin. Both times Canelo could not get away from the jab. He cannot slip a jab. When he goes on them ropes, look how many jabs Mayweather landed. The jab won him the fight. No question. And Golovkin couldn't miss with the jab. Look at the numbers. The reason why Golovkin has landed nearly 50 punches more in the whole fight was because of that jab. And we all know it's a little bit more than a jab. It's nearly a semi-power punch. Right? So for those coming out and saying Canelo landed 4 more power shots, no. Golovkin's jab is not a normal jab. And he landed much more shots in total. Right? So, Golovkin was the ring general because Canelo was getting fatigued. Errol Spence said it, I said it. Me and Billy Boss watched it live on Box Nation, and we were looking at each other after rounds 3 and 4 and thinking, Canelo is going to the ropes to take a rest because he is gassing, and he was. And he did something which is sort of human nature. In rounds 11 and 12, he had a second wind. But you know, had it been a longer fight, once you've had that second wind, you go back to your normal exhausted self. It's that last bit of adrenaline that the crowd gives you towards the end of an event. It's natural, but it doesn't mean that he was purposely conserving his energy to have a real grandstand finish at the end. But let me tell you something, the bad scorecard, 118 to 110, masks the draw scorecard. That was just, well, not just as bad, but it was bad. Who could score that fight a draw? Come on. I mean, really, Gennady Golovkin getting a draw on the scorecards v Canelo really means Golovkin won, because who usually gets any result v Canelo when it goes to the scorecards? Nobody. So it's already an admission from Golden Boy that Golovkin beat Canelo. And let's face it, right? Let's go back to the Floyd Mayweather fight, shall we? Floyd Mayweather dominated 11 rounds to 1. Anyone that tells me any different, go take up watching ice hockey. Floyd Mayweather dominated that boy from pillar to post, right? And one of them gave it a draw. CJ Ross. CJ Ross gave it a draw. All Canelo needed was another person on his side, and he'd have beaten Floyd Mayweather. This is why you saw 2 fights with Marcus Maidana before Manny Pacquiao's match with Mayweather, because he was not going to rematch Canelo, because he knows if Canelo would have won another round, Mayweather would have got robbed. They'd have robbed Floyd Mayweather. Canelo is a great boxer. He does not need protection. His skills, attributes, counterpunching is beautiful. His uppercut is outstanding. His ability to absorb is outstanding, right? He needs to plant his feet, but when he does, he's very effective then at letting them combos go. And he throws so many so fast. His hand speed to me has improved. He throws so many so fast he does land, no matter how good your defense is these days. But he is protected. There is some protection going on here. Big style. I used to think, now I did give Canelo the win over Miguel Cotto, but I gave it 7-5. But you had scores like, again, 118, 110. He never beat Miguel Cotto by that much. Not in a million years. So the judges were in his favour just in case Miguel Cotto was winning. Amir Khan, For me, after 5 rounds, he was ahead. But no judge, only one had Amir Khan ahead. Right? This is absolute nonsense. And here's another interesting stat. Golovkin landed more shots in 10 of the rounds than Canelo. In 10 of the rounds. And yet there's Adelaide Bird giving 10 rounds to Canelo. How can you only give Gennady Golovkin 2 rounds in that fight? I don't know what it is. I agree with Manny Pacquiao. Have they borrowed the judges from the Jeff Horn fight? I think they did. I think Canelo, because he looks like Jeff Horn sometimes when Jeff Horn bulks up, that the judges think it's the same person. So no matter what Jeff Horn or Canelo do, they're gonna score it for of course King Canelo and King Jeff Horn. I'm taking it out on Jeff Horn and Canelo. I don't mean to. It's not their fault. Teddy Atlas said it best. Fighters are innocent. They go in the ring and they just go in there to fight. And they do put themselves at risk for us, the fans. So my anger sometimes is spilling over to Canelo and Jeff Horn or whoever. But it gets you like that, doesn't it? It makes you turn on a terrific athlete, which is what Canelo is. And of course Jeff Horn is a good up and coming welterweight. It makes you turn on decent human beings when, again, this corruption is going on. Right? But the scorecard, the guy that had it a draw, very interesting, because Gareth Davis, who works on Box Nation and writes, I think, for the Mail, the tabloid newspaper, he actually reminded me when I read his article, and I didn't realise this. Bird gave Canelo round 7. How on earth can you give Canelo round 7 in that fight? How? So that round makes it a draw. So a clear Golovkin round. This guy determines the fight is a draw based off giving a Golovkin round to Canelo. What are we absolutely seeing? Everybody, Teddy Atlas picked Canelo to win. And he was disgusted. And I understand it. I can understand his rage. Right? All of the Box Nation studio picked Canelo. But credit to them. At the end of the fight, like me, I didn't pick Canelo, but at the end of the fight, they all were in unanimous agreement, Amir Khan and all of them in the studio, that Golovkin won that fight. Lennox Lewis didn't really think it was that close. Harold Lederman had it 8-4. Lennox Lewis, I think, had it 8-4. Gareth Davis had it 8-4. I personally gave one of those rounds even. I had Gennady Golovkin winning the fight by 3 rounds. 3 rounds. So I was a little bit closer than a few others. But there's no way Canelo won 7 or 8 of them rounds, let alone 10. I'm sorry. Right? So, Gennady Golovkin, is he at his prime? No, he's not. He isn't. But he's still relentless, still determined. And the fear was, from a lot of people, that Canelo would win this on activity. It was completely the other way round. Gennady Golovkin threw more shots, 700 plus I think, than the younger guy. So, everybody was saying Canelo will win it out of activity and Golovkin will be looking for the perfect shot. Now, I agree. Canelo did better at handling Golovkin's right hand and stopping it from landing than he did his jab. But still, Canelo was outworked. He was outpunched in total. The ring generalship was governed by Golovkin because Canelo was doing what he usually does, which is gas. Canelo's ruggedness kept him in the fight. His combinations won him rounds in there. His all-round skill and class, which is elite, I'm not saying any different, was for there all to see. But the Queensberry rules, hit and don't get hit. Then there's ring generalship. Golovkin was winning in all of those categories. The only people I noticed that are saying Canelo won this fight, and the truth of the real story was, after the cards and the result was declared, the Mexican crowd booed their own fighter. What does that tell you? They were watching the same fight I was watching, and many others. But then you get the people that just will not let go. They will not let go, no matter what Canelo does. He wins. He wins. Elisandro Lara fight. They give that fight, right? Many people argue Lara won. And again, the stats actually show Lara landed more punches. Right? Every time CompuBox, and I'm not saying it is the be and all end of accuracy, I'm not claiming that, but every time CompuBox goes against Canelo, oh, there's something wrong with it. Oh, that's not telling the story of the fight. Lara landed more punches, right? Lara looked in, a good performance there, right? And they gave that fight 9 rounds to 3 to Canelo, one judge. I mean, this is unbelievable. Now I'm hearing that Canelo's next fight might not be Gennady Golovkin. Well, so be it. Why would Golovkin need Canelo? He's just beaten him. He's beaten Canelo. Let's move on. Golovkin come to the UK, have a match with Billy Joe Saunders, unify the belt. The only tragedy here is Canelo is still holding that lineal title, and he shouldn't be. I agree now, after I've seen it. Canelo is definitely in the top 4 middleweights, with Jacobs, Golovkin, Lemieux. But can Canelo now go down to £154? I'm curious. And I think Danny Jacobs is really dangerous for Canelo. Is he going to fight him? Is he going to fight? Because Golovkin did pay Canelo's power some real good respect in there. Because Golovkin, I've said it before, these days, a bit like Pacquiao, I know he's a completely different style to Manny, but as Golovkin's getting older, he's becoming more of a boxer. He's relying more on his skills, right? We've seen it. The last 3 fights, major fights I'm talking, Lemieux, Danny Jacobs, Canelo, you may argue he's won all of those fights on a jab. A real good jab. And real good boxers tend to use real good jabs. So that tells you, right? And he's been sort of more cautious and not taking as many clear shots. So his style has altered. But let me tell you something. David Lemieux will not do that v Canelo. David Lemieux will try and walk through Canelo to land his own. And if he can do that, he's trouble for Canelo as well. I think it's a disaster waiting for Canelo to look for another middleweight before fighting Gennady Golovkin again. Just go for the rematch, right? Or don't fight him again at all. But Canelo's unbeaten run, if you could call it that as a middleweight, is on borrowed time because the Charlos are going to come up in weight. And he's very technical. Let me just tell you that. Very technical and fast, right? They can't keep giving lopsided scorecards to Canelo forever because people are starting to cotton onto it. And sooner or later, it means you have to separate Canelo from his senses to beat him. No, you don't. The Queensberry rules does not imply that knocking someone out is a must where winning's concerned. Because if you had to knock everybody out, that would mean half of Floyd Mayweather's career would have, in terms of fights, would have ended in draws. In draws. But here's why there's more corruption. They're making it out now in boxing, subliminally, that females can't judge fights. It's nothing to do with females. I've seen female judges do very, very well, let me tell you. I know females that know a lot about boxing. But they're trying to protect the big wigs. That's right, the big male promoters up top. I've just said it. How else can you explain it was a female judge that robbed Lennox Lewis against Evander Holyfield? Who was the promoter? Big man Don King, right? Let's go to Canelo Mayweather. Who was the one that scored at a draw? CJ Ross, a female. Let's go to Manny Pacquiao. Timothy Bradley. Who was the one that scored it for Timothy Bradley and ultimately meant Manny lost his titles that night? CJ Ross. So the bigwigs are throwing the female judges under the bus. But it's not a true reflection of female judges. They're just trying to subconsciously put that in your head. While they're running away scot-free, as Teddy Atlas said, laughing all the way to the bank. Gennady Golovkin won this fight. I think next step, Billy Joe Saunders. And if Gennady is comfortable enough in terms of money, I understand he wants to make a living and set his family's legacy free for all time. So another big money fight with Canelo. I don't blame him if he accepted it. But if he doesn't, if he's comfortable enough, you don't need to go back there, my friend. You've beaten Canelo. You beat him, right? You can unify the alphabetical titles and be called the unified champion. And it's just a tragedy that we've still got Tyson Fury hogging the lineal heavyweight title. That should be stripped soon. Canelo should not be lineal middleweight champion. He's fought one middleweight and I think lost to him. Right? So, where do we go from here? I said if there was a robbery in this fight, that my time in making boxing videos and analysing things in the sport was over. But Stephen A. Smith did say something. We did see a great performance there from Gennady Golovkin. And we did see heart from Canelo, to give him credit. He is what he is, a superb fighter. You know, just he does have more than one loss on his record. Arguably 3 losses now. Let's just be honest about it. I did give him the Trout fight, but he could have easily have lost to Lara, and it was a fairly comfortable victory for Golovkin. See, the thing is, he did a little bit to Golovkin what Jeff Horn did to Manny. He did a little bit better than people expected v Golovkin, so that means, oh, it's a draw. No, it doesn't work that way. Every 12 rounds of a particular fight is a fresh set of circumstances. You watch that fight based on what it is. Not that, oh, this guy's a better middleweight than I thought, or, oh, Golovkin is not the fighter of old. So even though he's landed countless more shots in that round and jabs, I'm giving the round to the other guy because Golovkin, he's not meeting my expectation. Boxing is about perception. But a true analyst of the sport takes all of that out of play. For instance, if Arturo Gatti, great action fighter, if he'd have turned up one night like Rigondeaux, right, and completely schooled somebody, you can't score the fight against Arturo Gatti. Because within the Queensberry rules, right, he won the fight. Because he's allowed to attack, to knock out, or clinically outbox. That's just the be-end and all-end of the sport. It is not what you like, it's what it is. I keep hearing people say, well, it's what you like, that's what you do when you score fights. No, it's not. It's what it is. And what it was, ring generalship is a big criteria. Golovkin was the winner in that. punching and landing is a criteria. Golovkin won that. Defense is a criteria. Golovkin won that. Taking shots is not a criteria. Canelo lost that. Effective punching, I'll agree, is a criteria. Canelo did land some really effective shots, but they're all acting like Golovkin landed none. So in most of those boxes, Golovkin, well, he ticked most of them. Let's just put it that way. But, you know, we're on a hat-trick, aren't we? We're on a hat-trick of corruption here. Manny Pacquiao in Australia. Triple G Golovkin in Vegas. Who knows? Maybe Rigondeaux may dominate. Or maybe Lomachenko will dominate Rigondeaux. And we'll have a hat-trick of robberies. How about that for a sport? See, I complain a lot about soccer because there's a lot of corruption, I think, in that. But there is nothing. Nobody does corruption like the sweet science and the people that run it. So, on that note, I am unhappy to confirm to you that we have the corruption team. Oscar De La Hoya, the great legendary Bernard Hopkins, Adelaide Bird, and Mexico legend and icon, Canelo Alvarez. On that note, Champions of Champions Boxing Talk, I've been absolutely destructive in this video, and I'm out.